At my daughter's wedding, I was told to stay in the back and keep quiet, you're just the stepdad. I paid for the venue, the catering, even her dress. Her biological dad showed up drunk, gave a toast about real fathers, and got a standing ovation. I stood there holding a gift she never opened. Days later, I got a bill for $1,240 for extra guests, and a message from my wife, she didn't want you there anyway. You should be grateful we let you come. I haven't spoken to either of them since, until last week when my daughter showed up crying on my porch. I've been a stepdad for over 16 years. I met Maureen when I was 39 and she was 36. Her daughter Claire was 5 at the time. Her real dad, Gary, was a mess. In and out of jail, sometimes clean, usually not. But Claire still talked about him like he was a superhero. I didn't take it personally. I just tried to show up every day and be consistent. I never officially adopted her. Maureen didn't think it was necessary, and Gary would have fought it even if he didn't deserve to. But I was there. All the time. First day of school. Me. Parent-teacher conferences. Me. When she got her first period and didn't want to talk to her mom. She called me from the nurse's office. When her pet rabbit died, I buried it. When she got her license, I handed her the keys to my old Jeep. When she got into UNC, I helped fill out her FAFSA and drove her to orientation. She used to call me Dad. Somewhere around middle school, she just started doing it. I never asked her to. So yeah, I thought I was her dad. When she got engaged, I was genuinely happy for her. I didn't know much about the guy, Ben. He was polite. Laughed at my jokes. Shook my hand firmly. I offered to pay for the wedding. No one asked me to. I just did. The venue cost me $9,000. The catering was another $6,500. The dress? $3,200. Then came the flowers, decorations, DJ, tents for the reception, lighting for the evening. It added up to over $30,000 by the end of it. All paid by me. I even paid for the open bar because Claire wanted signature cocktails. Maureen helped with small stuff. Invitations, hair trial, some centerpieces. But she made it clear I shouldn't expect to be front and center. She said Claire wanted Gary to walk her down the aisle. I asked her straight up, "Are you okay with that?" She said, "It's what she wants. Don't make this about you." I nodded. But it hurt. Still, I showed up early on the wedding day. I helped the florist unload. I carried chairs. I handed out tip envelopes to the staff. I wasn't in a tux. I wasn't even in any of the family photos. Claire said it'd be awkward. Right before the ceremony, Maureen found me standing off to the side. She said, "Claire asked if you could stay toward the back during the ceremony. She doesn't want to confuse people." Confuse them how? I've been her dad for 16 years. But I didn't argue. I just nodded. Again. The ceremony happened. I stood in the back while Gary, who hadn't seen Claire sober in years, walked her down the aisle. I watched as people smiled and took pictures. Like he was some war hero coming home. Later, during the reception, he gave a toast. Slurring every other word, he rambled about real blood and how nobody can take the place of a real father. People laughed. Some clapped. Claire was smiling. She even raised her glass. I stood there, holding a gift I'd spent months restoring. It was my mother's old music box. Claire used to love winding it when she was little. It had stopped working years ago, but I'd fixed it, every gear, every spring. Had her initials carved inside. She never opened it. I left it on the gift table. When I checked later, it was gone. I don't know if she even knew it was from me. 3 days after the wedding, I got an email. It was a bill. $1,240 for extra guests. No note, no thank you. Just a Venmo link and an invoice. I texted Maureen. What is this? She replied, she didn't even want you there. You should be grateful we let you come. That was the last time I spoke to either of them. I blocked them both. Took down all the photos in the house. Packed away every gift or drawing Claire ever made me. I went to work. I came home. I kept to myself. Then last week, it happened. It was just past 7 p.m. I was in the garage replacing brake pads when I heard a knock. Then crying. I came out, and Claire was on my porch, holding a baby in her arms, red-eyed and shaking. She looked at me and said, I didn't know where else to go. I didn't say anything. I didn't move. She said, Ben's gone. He left. Took our savings. I don't know what to do. That's where it starts again. But this time, it won't go the way it did before. I didn't say anything at first. I just stared at her. It had been over a year since the wedding. A year since she looked at me like I was nothing more than a footnote in her life. A year since I stood in the shadows while everyone clapped for a man who couldn't stay sober long enough to spell her name right. Now she was on my porch with a crying baby, a diaper bag hanging off one shoulder, and desperation in her eyes. I tried calling Mom, she said quietly. She said I made my choice. I stayed silent. Claire started crying harder. I know I don't deserve anything from you. But I have nowhere else to go. I didn't want to let her in. Not because I wanted her to suffer. But because I had just started to feel like a human being again. Like I wasn't invisible. Still, I stepped aside. She walked in, sat on the couch, and held the baby tight. I stood in the doorway for a minute, unsure of what the hell I was even doing. She told me the story over the next hour. Ben had been cheating. For over 6 months. With someone from work. When Claire confronted him, he laughed. Said she wasn't fun anymore. 2 days later, he cleared out their joint account and moved in with the other woman. Just like that. Now she was broke, alone, with a newborn. And no one else would pick up the phone. What happened to your friends? I asked. She shook her head. They're his friends too. They think I'm the reason he left. I wanted to feel something. Pity. Sadness. But it was like all my feelings had been locked in a safe a long time ago, and no one remembered the code. I let her sleep on the couch that night. The baby cried every 2 hours. I stayed in my room, wide awake. The next morning, I made coffee. She came into the kitchen looking like hell. Do you want to hold her? She asked, holding out the baby. No, I said. She blinked fast, like she was trying not to cry again. Okay. The days went like that. Quiet. Strange. Claire stayed in the guest room. I went to work. Came home. Ate alone. One night, I came back to find Maureen sitting on my porch. You can't keep ignoring us, she said. I laughed. Actually laughed. Claire told me you said she made her choice. Maureen stood up. You're punishing her. She's your daughter. No, I said. She was. Until you both made sure I wasn't. She's hurting. So was I snapped. And neither of you gave a damn. She didn't have a response. Just looked away. Before she left, she said, don't turn into the kind of man she'll regret needing. I wanted to yell after her, you already did that for me. That weekend, I checked my tools in the garage. Something was missing. My expensive drill. I had a feeling. Sure enough, I found it in Claire's car trunk, under a blanket. Along with some other things from the garage. Things she was probably going to pawn. When I confronted her, she broke down again. I wasn't going to sell it. I didn't know how to ask. I didn't think I'd have to lock my own toolbox, I said. That's when she screamed at me. You raised me to survive. I'm trying to survive. I didn't say anything. I just walked back inside and locked the door. She left that night. Took the baby, her bag, and nothing else. But this story's not over. Because a week later, I got a call from CPS. And what they said next made everything feel like a setup. It was a Thursday afternoon. I had just gotten back from work, cracked open a beer, and sat down in front of the TV when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail. Mr. Henson, a woman said. This is Michelle Ray with Durham County Child Protective Services. We're following up on a welfare concern involving your granddaughter. I froze. Claire listed you as an emergency contact when she brought the baby to the clinic yesterday, she continued. She appeared distressed and disoriented. The attending nurse had concerns about her mental state. I stood up without thinking. Where is she? She left before we could evaluate her fully. We've been trying to reach her since. Her phone's off. For the first time in weeks, my heart didn't feel like stone. It felt like a bomb about to go off. I gave them everything I knew, her car, her friends, places she might go. An hour later, they called back. She had been found in a hotel room off I-85. The baby was fine. Claire was not. They placed the baby in temporary foster care, pending an evaluation. Claire was taken to a facility for observation. I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't go see the baby. I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do. The next morning, Maureen showed up at my door again. Her eyes were puffy. She looked 10 years older. She's gone, she said. What? Not dead, she added quickly. But she checked herself out. Against medical advice. She left a note. I waited. She said she wasn't fit to be a mother. Said she never should have come back. That she hurt everyone who ever tried to help her. I didn't feel angry this time. I didn't feel much of anything. Just empty. She listed you as guardian, Maureen said, placing a piece of paper on my table. Not me. I looked at the form. My name. In her handwriting. Legal guardianship of her daughter. Effective immediately. I stared at it like it wasn't real. She trusts you, Maureen said. Even now. I laughed bitterly. Funny way of showing it. Maureen just stood there, silent. You know what the worst part is? I said. I was willing to raise her all over again. From the beginning. I would have done it gladly. I did do it. And then I got erased. I didn't know, she said softly. I didn't know how far gone she was. You helped erase me. She nodded. Didn't deny it. We both stood there in silence. Two people who broke something they thought would last forever. Later that day, I went to see the baby. Her name was Emma. 6 months old. Tiny fingers. Serious eyes. She looked at me like she recognized something. The caseworker asked me, "Are you sure you want to take this on?" I didn't even blink. She's mine. They let me take her home that evening. Just me and Emma. Claire never came back. Not that week. Not the one after. I got one letter from her. No return address. Just a note. It said, "You were the only real parent I ever had. I don't know how to be good. But I know you are." That was it. But things weren't over. Not yet. 2 months later, Gary showed up at my house. Drunk. Screaming. Demanding to see his granddaughter. That's when I knew I'd have to fight again. This time, for real. Gary showed up on a Sunday afternoon. I was outside with Emma, pushing her in a little stroller I bought secondhand. The neighborhood was quiet, and I was just starting to feel like a man with a second chance. Then his truck pulled up. He stumbled out, already half drunk, reeking of stale beer and something worse. His hair was a mess, and his shirt was half-buttoned. He looked like a man who lived out of his glove box. "I want to see my granddaughter," he shouted, walking up the driveway like he owned it. Emma started crying. I stepped between them. "You need to leave." "I got rights," he shouted, waving a crumpled piece of paper in the air. "She's got my blood. That makes her mine." I could feel my chest tighten. All those memories of the wedding came back in a wave, him on stage, talking about real fathers, the applause, the way Claire looked at him like he mattered. "You gave up your rights the second you walked away from your daughter," I said. "Now get off my property." He stepped forward again. I pushed him back. He fell onto the grass, then slowly climbed up, breathing hard. "You think you're better than me?" he spat. "You think she picked you?" "No," I said, flat. "She didn't. But she left Emma with me. That's the difference. I stayed. You didn't." He glared at me, then at the baby, then back at me. "I'll see you in court." "Go ahead," I said, pointing to my security camera on the garage. "But try that again and you'll be seeing the inside of a jail cell first." That was the last time I saw Gary in person. 2 weeks later, I got court papers. He filed for custody. I didn't wait. I got a lawyer. Not a cheap one. I cashed out an old savings account I had been holding onto for retirement and put everything into that fight. And when I showed the court the pictures, the text messages, the police reports, the CPS notes, even the invoice from the wedding where I paid for everything while being called just the stepdad, the judge didn't hesitate. He ruled Gary unfit and permanently barred from contact. It was over. But that wasn't the satisfying part. The satisfying part came 6 months later. I got a letter in the mail. Claire again. This time with a return address. It was from a women's shelter in Roanoke. She had been sober for 3 months. Working part-time at a diner. She asked if she could come visit. Just visit. No strings. I agreed. When she showed up, she was thinner. Her eyes tired. But she looked more like herself than I'd seen in years. She held Emma like she was something sacred. "I messed everything up," she said. I nodded. "Yeah, you did. I don't expect you to forgive me." I looked at her, long and hard. "I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for her. But if you want to earn your way back into her life, then start here. And don't mess it up again." She cried. Not loud. Just a steady stream of tears. We talked for an hour. She asked questions. I gave her answers. Then I gave her one thing I hadn't before, a chance. Today, Claire is 2 years clean. She sees Emma every weekend. She's in therapy. She has a job. We're not close, but we're not strangers anymore. Maureen tried to reconnect. I let her visit once. It didn't go well. Too much damage. Too much pride. We haven't spoken since. I keep the music box on Emma's dresser now. Sometimes she winds it, just like her mom used to. And every time it plays, I remember one thing: blood might start the story. But it doesn't finish it. The ones who stay, who show up, who carry the weight, even when they're told to stand in the back. Those are the ones who count. And no one can ever take that away from me again.